All right, we're live. Welcome everybody to our first stream of talking about our new business, NetSquire. We're so excited to have everyone watching, whether you're watching live or later on. My partner in crime, Christina, is here. She's down the shore dealing with rain. So if you hear some water in the background, she's just enjoying the great outdoors.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Didn't even know it was raining today until I went out. NetSquire. This is our new business that is directed towards helping people get divorced without fighting. And by doing that, we are going to help you save money. We're going to help you get it done quicker. And we're going to get it done in a way that's going to be better for your entire family. So this is really just an introduction to our programs. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about what NetSquire has to offer, why it's better than traditional law firms, and who it's best for. So I'm really excited about this. Are you, Christina?
I am, and I just want to give a little bit of background because, some people know us, some people watching may not know our history, but we've been practicing exclusively divorce and family law for probably about 17 or 18 years. And during that time, we have identified a huge gap in the market and in the services that are available to good people that really just want to get their divorce done relatively easily, relatively quickly, and don't have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on lawyers. We would get so many phone calls from prospective clients that wanted something that looked that way. But just because of the nature of the industry, we would have to charge them more than they could really afford. And sadly, we would have to turn them away. And I always felt bad for those people because I do think divorce is one of those things where everybody should have some legal counsel. You should have some legal advice to get your divorce done. Because at the end of the day, it is a legal transaction. For the years, John and I have experimented in other ways other than NetSquire to kind of build something for the people that needed that service. And over the years, it's culminated now into NetSquire. And we are really proud of it because we think it's going to provide such a wonderful service to people that maybe aren't the best fit for a traditional law firm where you pay a $5,000 retainer and you kind of do, like, I call it the script, the divorce script. A lot of lawyers just kind of do the same thing in every case. It's not really tailor made for you and your needs. Those people that don't need that anymore, there is now something for you, and that's NetSquire, and I'm really proud of it.
I'm really proud of it too. I mean, it's really going to help a lot of people that you do need some legal counsel and just a little guidance rather than going to some place that gives them a bunch of forms to fill out. Half the time, those places don't even tell them what forms are applicable to them. They just hand you a bunch of papers and send you on your way with some cryptic instructions that maybe are difficult to understand. And you need to ask some questions. And really, why traditional law firms cost so much money is they have tremendous overhead. And that's one thing that I think a lot of people forget is they think they're paying this attorney a lot of money. But no, the attorney employs all these people. And it's because of the infrastructure, the court system, everything that's out there that requires more than just an attorney to make it all work. By forming this new company, we're able to cut down on some of that and allow and pass on those savings to our clients that otherwise might not be able to afford our services. Like Christina was saying, it's very common, I'd say extremely rare, for any attorney to charge less than $5,000 to start a case. For years, we've sort of been looking at divorces from the standpoint of, can we help people with uncontested divorce cases, meaning that you're going to settle your case and sign something before we file anything with the court. We've been trying to do that, but what ends up happening is if you and your spouse don't sit down and you guys are not on the same page in terms of what the agreement's going to be, it still ends up costing more than it should. Forming this new company, we've been able to find ways to streamline everything to put in processes where you and your spouse can sit down and look at something and say, can we fill this out together? And if we can, then we can get divorced a lot cheaper. Or do you and your spouse just both want the process to be quicker and inexpensive and are willing to sit down with the mediator, a third person, and help you go through each and everything in your divorce and get it done? The result of your divorce is probably very close to what me and Christina can tell you is going to happen at the very beginning. I mean, divorce really isn't complicated. I like to say divorce is 95% emotion. So what we try to do here at NetSquire is take the emotion out, just get down to business about what you actually need to do to get divorced, allow you access to ask questions of an attorney, and still get that final result that's going to be fair for you and your family. Really, really great. And I really am excited personally about the mediation part of this, Christina, because as you know, I like to mediate. And we're going to be discussing mediation a little bit more over the next couple of weeks in terms of what that's good for. But regardless of whether or not you want some help, like you need a one-on-one person to help you and your spouse reach an agreement, or whether you and your spouse can sit down at a kitchen table and go through all the things you need to settle, we have some way to help just about everybody. I mean, really the only people that we can't help, Christina, are the ones that really can't agree on what color the sky is, that are in such a state of emotional turmoil that they really aren't even in the right mindset to even try to reach an agreement, or that are in, abusive relationships or relationships where there's such a power differential that someone really shouldn't be doing one of our packages.
Well, those people probably wouldn't even seek us out. I would say that the person who may be watching, or if if you're a colleague and you have to turn someone away for the very reasons that we've already described, and you think they might be a good fit for NetSquire, the person that is a good fit for us is the person who has had conversations with their spouse, or the couple that both are on the same page in terms of they want this divorce process to be quicker, easier, less stressful, and are concerned about costs, because I don't know too many people that aren't concerned about the cost. They want to keep those costs down. And they're both committed to that process, but they just don't know how to start. They don't know what they're supposed to do, which of course they don't know what to do unless they're divorce lawyers. They don't know what to do. They don't know the kinds of things that they're even supposed to talk about. They may know generally, okay, we have to talk about custody. We have to talk about child support. Maybe we need to talk about alimony, but they don't exactly know how to go about that. Those are the people that we are looking for, that we can help. And we have several different packages depending on what those clients need. If they do need to sit down and have us help them talk about all the different moving parts of the divorce, like custody, alimony, child support, property distribution, then they can elect to do mediation with us, where we'll sit down with them and we'll help them figure all those things out. They're getting two attorneys that have been practicing exclusively divorce and family law for 18 years. We know where all the gaps are. We know what you should talk about. Sometimes when you get someone who's not an attorney who's been doing this for 18 years, or at least an adequate amount of time to have seen all the mistakes that can happen, sometimes you're just only getting a small part of the puzzle. And that can cause problems later down the road if there's things that you don't address that perhaps you should have. So for people that need to start there, we can provide mediation. We also get a fair amount of people that come to us and say, look, we don't have a lot to fight over. There's no kids. We just want to go our separate ways. You keep your stuff. I'll keep my stuff. How do we do that? Those people probably don't need mediation. They just need someone to draft their papers, draft an appropriate settlement agreement that they can both sign, and have all their pleadings and all the other paperwork that goes along with that, so they can just have it filed with the court on their behalf and be done and be divorced, and not have to worry that they forgot something, worry about how to do it. It's going to get done correctly because we do it for you. And that is what separates us from a lot of the other services that are out there, is like John said, they just kind of throw a lot of paper at you with this huge instruction manual. And now you're supposed to read it and digest it and just do it yourself. I don't know how helpful that actually is for people. We actually filed the papers for you. Did I miss anything, John?
No, in fact, it's interesting, Christina. We just in our firm, we just got a client that went to one of those places, got a bunch of forms, and filed them all. Wasn't clear on what they were supposed to do. They've been sitting in a courthouse for almost 9 months, and of course, they got a dismissal notice. They didn't know what else they were supposed to do because the instructions were so unclear. I mean, if you want to get divorced, I mean, we sort of price this in a way that we hope that we can help everybody get divorced and get it done right the first time, which is really the big issue. The other thing we see a lot is people that use a lot of these fill in the blank services, because that's all it is. It's literally fill in the blank, where you handwrite things in documents. The reason those are problematic, we have seen so many times over our almost 20 years of doing this, people that come back to us after the divorce is over because something was left out. You know, for example, you didn't address anything about taxes, and now all of a sudden you've got kids and both people are trying to claim taxes. I mean, that's a common thing I see. But, you know, these forms don't really account for all of the uniqueness of your life. So what our service does is it takes how your life is unique, the things that you and your spouse really are important to you and the things you want to do, and we craft documents that are unique to you. They're not fill in the blank. We're going to find out what you need in order to have a document that, you know, really satisfies both you and your spouse, that actually says what is important about you and your kids, goes through the unique schedules that you have. We go through the unique provisions, perhaps with support that you want to have. It's not a fill in the blank. And that's what differentiates us from sort of the low cost fill in the blank forms. But on the flip side, you're not going to be paying for a whole process where you're going to be going to court and there's going to be all of this extra work that's quite frankly unnecessary for most people. And that's the gap that Christina was talking about before, this gap between those two. And we're trying to help people get divorced without spending all this money. And we talk to people all the time that are perfect candidates for this program. And it's just been very difficult to really help them get done inexpensively because, you know, again, if you don't start the process with you and your spouse sort of on the same page about this entire process, it can get out of control fast. And one of the things that happens, quite frankly, is one person will go to an attorney that is not settlement minded, is not mediation minded, is not resolving your entire divorce before you go to court minded. And all of a sudden, you and your spouse have spent $10,000 each on legal fees. And, you know, we hear this frequently, Christina, don't we, that I've spent all this money and nothing's happened, or I've spent all this money and I'm not done, because that's the perception you have. Because most people think, you know, when you pay for something, you're paying for a product. And that's really what the idea we came up with was you're going to pay for a package, and the product is you're going to get a settlement agreement and you're going to get divorced. And that's all it costs. It's this price. It's not this ever ending, you know, bill that just keeps going and going and going, because that's the way our system is created. That's the way it is sort of designed. And it's not the fault of attorneys. It's not the fault of the court. It's not the fault of everybody, of the people getting divorced. It's everyone's fault. It's the entire process's fault. And so we're going to try to find a way to break that system and help people get divorced a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, and I will say that there's a lot of wonderful attorneys out there that are mediation oriented. And when you go to them, they do have mediation top of mind. They understand that you want your divorce done as quickly as you can get it done. But unfortunately, I think that there are more attorneys in our field that, as I said, kind of follow a script. You know, they're more concerned about following the script with sort of the mentality of, but this is how we've always done it, right? And I think NetSquire is disrupting the industry because we don't follow the script. Not everybody has to start out with a case information statement or voluminous discovery which if you don't know what that is, consider yourself lucky, because if you do know what it is, it's because you probably already have one of those attorneys, and you're going down this rabbit hole that maybe you don't actually need to go down. Some people do need to go down the rabbit hole. Some people don't. In fact, a lot of people don't. Be thinking, well, which one am I? Do I need to go down the rabbit hole? So I'd like to talk about that a little bit more. You might be thinking, well, my spouse and I are not besties, right? Like, we're not sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya. There's, we have conflict, and that's okay. You can have conflict. What you really need, what's part and parcel to being a good fit for this program, is that you are both committed to streamlining the process. You are both committed to not spending all of your money on lawyers who are really just going to help you fight. That's really the biggest piece of this. So if both of you are committed to that, you don't always have to be getting along great. You don't have to be on the same page about everything. That's why we offer mediation, to help you with those kinds of issues. If you are on the same page with everything, even better. You'll spend even less. So that's really who we serve. And if you think that's you, you can speak to us more before you buy anything and have a discovery call and find out if you are a good fit, because we certainly don't want you to sign up and spend your money if it turns out that you're not a good fit. We want to be able to serve everyone in the right way who wants to work with us and use our services.
If you want to learn more about the programs, or if you want to book a discovery call with Christina or myself to discuss whether or not this program is good for you, you can go over to gethappydivorce.com, and all of the information is laid out there. We have an FAQ page as well that you can go and watch videos and learn more about each of the programs and see whether or not they're right for you. But we're more than happy to talk to everybody, because Christina and I really want to make sure that you have the right representation for you, whether it's a program where we can help you get divorced inexpensively, or a case where you actually need to go to court. You're going to need some assistance from a judge because you and your spouse can't resolve it. I mean, there are certain cases where, unfortunately, there's no way to compromise. The one that comes to mind, Christina, always is if somebody's getting divorced and they want to move across the country with a child. That's difficult sometimes to find a compromise. So there are situations where sometimes the judge has to get involved. And if Christina and I talk to you and we realize that's the case, we'll be able to guide you appropriately and get you to the right place that can help you with that kind of case. But I would say, if I was to guess, I would say at least 70 to 80% of everyone who's gone through divorce would be a good candidate for our program. Because, again, as long as you can leave your emotions at the door and find a way to realize, listen, this is happening to me. It sucks. Divorce always sucks. This sucks. I don't like it. I don't want to be divorced. But you know what? It's happening whether I like it or not. So I have to make the best of it. If you can get yourself to that mentality and your spouse is also in that mentality, we can help you. Whether it's you and your spouse sitting down or having a mediator actually sit down with the two of you virtually so it doesn't interrupt your life and help you resolve each and everything in your divorce. That's all it takes. It's a mindset issue is really what we're talking about. Can you get to the mindset of, listen, we just want to get divorced, or I just want to get divorced, and my spouse is understanding it's happening whether they like it or not. So we just need somebody just to help us make sure we don't miss anything. That's you. We're probably a great place for you to come get divorced.
I agree. And I want to say too that our packages range in price from $1,500 to $3,500. And that is one flat fee. So you pay that one time, and that provides the services that you need to get everything done. And on top of that is just a filing fee with the court, which you would pay no matter how you got your divorce. So that is in stark contrast to the average divorce in our office, which is $15,000 just for ordinary litigation. Sometimes more, just depends on the people and how quickly they can reach an agreement. If they want to fight over everything, then obviously it takes longer and it costs more. But if they want to spend less, they agree to things more easily. They compromise a little bit more, and they can get done a lot cheaper. I know that's always a concern. And everybody, I think every attorney, wherever you practice, whatever state you're in, if you do divorce, the biggest question you get often, well, two things. You get, how much is this going to cost me? And how long is this going to take? Because this is such an excruciating time in someone's life, right? People just want to pull off the Band-Aid often. They just want to get it done. And it's hard to explain to a client in a traditional setting, why is this taking so long? It really doesn't have to. So that's another problem that NetSquire addresses. But again, it requires commitment from both of the parties.
Absolutely. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be diving deeper into a lot of the things that you've heard on this live stream. And we'll be talking a little bit more about each of the packages and who the best people are for each one of them. And answering any questions you have too. If you have any questions, just comment below this video and we will address them as we go forward. Again, if you have any questions about the programs themselves, go to gethappydivorce.com and you can get all the information about all of the things we've been talking about on that page, including a lot of videos that will help you understand a little bit more about what the programs are. And if you want to speak with me and Christina and do a quick discovery call to see if we're right for you, you can book your call directly on that site too. We'd be more than happy to talk to you for free to decide whether or not if this is the right program for you.
So we will be going live our plan right now is to go every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in other states, some of the information here might help you, but this is specific to New Jersey right now anyway. And we'll be here live every Thursday at 10 a.m. And we'll be going more in depth with some, common divorce issues that would be helpful to anybody who's thinking about divorce or going through a divorce now. So please tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. And you can also watch the replays on YouTube and in our Facebook feed.